Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the talk, How Past Lives Influence You. My name is Tracy Kennedy, and this is Celeste Appel, and we are here as students and representatives and teachers for the Unarius Academy of Science. How many have heard of Unarius before? Great. Well, it is a spiritual school. It's an educational foundation that's been in existence. We're celebrating our 60th anniversary this year, which is very exciting. It was founded by two cosmic visionaries, Ernest and Ruth Norman, who were just wonderful examples and very advanced clairvoyants, cosmic visionaries who came to planet Earth to lay down the foundation for spiritual teaching for all of us to help better ourselves, to turn our lives around, and to pave the way for a positive and progressive future for all of us. To literally take the ball and run with your own life and not rely on something outside of yourself, not look to religion or politics or anybody else to make this change in your life for the better. We have both been students for many, many years, and we're the first to say that we are not the teachers, we are truly students of life.
Our true teachers are spiritual guides and teachers, and I'm sure many of you here feel you have spiritual guides and teachers. And when you're open and receptive and such, they can definitely help you. And what happens, all of our books have been channeled. The core texts were channeled by the co-founder, Ernest Norman, who's a very advanced clairvoyant. And therefore the texts are imbued with these really high frequency energies, which are the consciousness of the spiritual teachers. So when you study them, or when you listen to the CDs or MP3s of them, what you experience is an upliftment in your consciousness, because you're imbued with this high frequency energy, and therefore you make a greater alignment with your higher self, and you open a channel to receive more information. And if you're questing and you ask, I've got this situation going on in my life, and how can I get information about it, then it can be projected to you, whether in dream state, in hypnagogic state, which is right before you wake up. Maybe you're showering and suddenly you get an insight, or driving in the car because your mind is at peace and you're not consciously trying to get the answer. It doesn't work that way, because when you try with conscious mind, you're not on a high channel that you need to be consciousness-wise. So I'm thinking that probably a lot of you that are in the room already think or know of past lives that you've lived. Yes? Is that true? Show of hands. And I'm sure there's a variety of ways that you found out about your past lives. Unarius does not get involved with past life regression. I know a lot of people do experience past lives that way, and we don't do that because we teach how to work with your consciousness and to use our tools of past life therapy and align yourself with these higher spiritual teachers to get your own answers, to develop your own mental muscle. You don't want to be dependent on someone else, and when you get your own answer, it means more to you. You can validate that it's really true versus someone else telling you something and then you going around, is this really true? How does this fit in my life?
All of those experiences, and the experiences that were traumatic for us, that we maybe had some type of disease, or we were in a war and we shot someone, or someone shot us, or stabbed us, or we had bad relationships in our past, or we were abused. Whatever those experiences are that we've had in past lives, they affect us today in a variety of different ways. So if you're not happy with your life now, there's a reason for that. It's because of energy that you set in motion from not understanding how energy functions, how you function as an energy being. So the co-founder of Unarius, Ernest L. Norman, in 1954 gave a series of lectures in Los Angeles, and from that developed the core text of Unarius called The Infinite Concept of Cosmic Creation, which is a mouthful, but it's a fantastic book. And each chapter outlines these principles of energy from an interdimensional perspective. That's where Unarius departs from most other spiritual teachings, is that it really focuses on interdimensional aspect, beyond the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth, and so on. So what happens is, in this particular book, in one of the chapters, he outlines different tools that you can use to begin to understand your past lives and to get the answer yourself. And for example, one of the tools that we use is writing in a journal. Now, how many people write in a journal or keep a diary? A lot of people, and it's a valuable tool, because what happens is, you write in a journal, you begin whatever experiences you're going through, and you might do it at the end of the day, before you retire, or you might do it first thing in the morning when you're very clear-headed and you wake up, and you sit and you just write down and just let your consciousness flow. Don't try to edit your thoughts. Just let those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions, those experiences that you're going through that you don't really understand, write that down. And what happens is, if you're open, you'll begin to get answers. You'll begin to see. Write down a dream that you had. Well, I had this dream about such and such and this person, and I can't believe that I dreamt that. Well, sometimes that dream may be a clue, very symbolically, to a past life involvement that you have with that particular person in a relationship that you have, maybe in work. We students like to joke that most all of us have to work for a living, and we don't necessarily choose the people that we work with, but yet that's where a lot of us have our biggest workouts, is with the people that we work with, because we have to go, we have to face them day after day after day. And if you have a lousy boss, there's a reason why you have a lousy boss. If you have a coworker that hates you and is obnoxious, there's a reason why. And rather than point the finger and say, that person, I have a crappy boss, I don't like this person, you attracted that person from your past life and the unresolved karma.
And what happens is, when we have what we call a workout, and we recognize from a past life that we were responsible for attracting this situation to ourselves, no one else. And we often, when we see what the past is, it's deflating, because it's information that we didn't know about ourselves. You know how everyone knows something about you and sees something, and you don't know it yourself, right? You don't see it, and suddenly when you're honest and this information is reflected to you, a lot of times it's a deflation of the ego, because it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was like this, or gee, I was responsible, and this person is being a jerk now, but I've been a jerk to this person in a previous lifetime. So when you accept that and you feel remorse, these spiritual teachers work with us, and they actually project healing ray beams that change the waveforms and balance them. They don't get rid of them, these negative waveforms, but they balance them so that they're more positively biased with our learning, what we learned, and we're actually recreating our psychic body. This is truly spiritual healing. And then we're also developing our higher self. And our higher self, our super consciousness, that little voice within, the Christ consciousness, been called many things, that's where we truly get our direction and our guidance in life. And that's where we get our creative inflow. As we work out these different blocks and shocks from past lives, many of us who've been students for years suddenly discover that we have creativity expressed in some way we never had before, whether it's in art or writing poetry or writing some type of story, or it's music. And that is the normal, natural way for all people to be clairvoyant and creative.